Alright, what's up heavy metal fans? This is Paul Garcia hanging out with none other than Matt from Exhumed, interviewed for the Offering Heavy Metal Zine. Matt, how are you doing today?
Good, man. I'm doing alright, thanks.
Okay guys, so we're at the House of Blues in Chicago.
Yes, we are.
You guys are part of this year's Summer Slaughter tour. So the tour is almost most of the way over. You guys are kind of finishing up the last week or two. How have you liked the experience of your first time out in this package?
You know, it's a mixed bag. I mean, it's like when you're doing a festival thing like this, you know, our set's really short. It's like 25 minutes. We're playing really early in the day. And, you know, I think this show is definitely aimed towards like kids, like younger fans or whatever, which is good for us because I mean, we're kind of looking to get out and play for people that maybe haven't heard the band, or maybe they've heard of the band but they've heard it, or they have no idea who we are or whatever. You know, the load-ins are pretty early and shit, which is, we're a band that usually drinks pretty heavily, so it's hard when you're used to waking up at 2 p.m. to like have already been loaded in for 2 hours and have all this shit together, you know? Yeah. So that's been an adjustment, and the weather is also really fucking grueling. Really? It's not so bad the last few days, you know, but especially at the beginning, like Texas, Florida, like, I mean, it's just an ass kicker. So, I mean, those are sort of the downsides. I mean, the good things are, you know, we're done early, we get to relax, hang out. Yeah. You know, it's cool to be able, but it is a great opportunity to play for younger kids. I mean, somebody that's maybe a diehard fan of Exhumed, that would be like, well, we tour a lot, like maybe wait till the next tour so we can play for 45 minutes. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want someone to pay like $35 to see us for 20 minutes or whatever. Like tonight we only had 20 minutes. Which is easy for me. It's fucking like less work for me. Just
kind of like a practice almost.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, for the kids, there's somebody that was really excited to see us. It's like I feel kind of bad about it. You know? Yeah. It's like all these venues we play, they're fucking like really posh or whatever, but it's like super expensive. The beer's more expensive. Yeah. They fucking charge us to sell merch. You know, it's just like kind of a corporate type vibe that I'm personally not into. Yeah. That said, it's been a rad tour. Everyone is awesome, and all the bands are fucking cool guys. We just hang out with our buddies and go to her all day and drink beer usually. Hell yeah. And you know, it's a lot of fun and it's rad. Like every day we get kids coming up to us like, hey, I never heard of you guys before, but that was awesome. That's intense. Hey, I've always heard of you guys, but like never seen you. It was fucking great. And that's exactly what we're going for. So it's, you know, it's a total win overall. It's just it's really different. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was actually really surprised myself to get here and see a packed room already at this time of day. Yeah. I'm like, don't you people have jobs or summer school or something? Well, I think that's like we were talking about the young kids. There's some young kids that can come out to this because they don't probably have a demanding job. Right. As like an Exhumed fan from like the very first EP's demos, probably a little older by now, and has some bills to pay. So it's it's badass you guys are out. So obviously you got last album. The newest album is All Guts No Glory. It's been out for a little while now. Right, about just over a year. Yeah. Are you looking back at that album ever and like kind of like, oh shit, we could have done that differently or better, or you just kind of that's the past, move forward? You know, like that's the first record of ours that I feel pretty fucking good about in general. Really? Like the first three, I feel like, you know, you know, it's all about having good songs, good performances, and good production. And the first three, I feel like each sort of miss different areas at different times. This one is the first one I'm like, you know, there's always little things or whatever, but I feel like I'm being really nitpicky. Like the first record sounds terrible, and the production is just unlistenable to me anyway. But maybe some people actually. No, absolutely. Part, right? Like I love Putrefaction and like Inside Evil by Sodom. It's one of my favorite records. So I get the appeal of it. It's just when it's your own band, it's different. You know, I love listening to like Keno and you know Andy Wales' mistakes on drums and Mick Harris playing all the time. I think it's great. But when it's my own band, it's really frustrating because it's like we weren't trying to do that. So, you know, but I feel pretty good about it. I mean, the main thing, I feel like usually each record kind of spurs the next one or whatever. You know what I mean? It's kind of a reaction. The one thing I think is like there wasn't a lot of groove on the last one. It's real like balls out, straight head down, straight ahead the whole time. It's almost like a statement. It absolutely was. It was intended that way. You know, but I feel like the next record probably should have like a little bit more, just a little bit more groove, and a little bit more, you know, just slower bits. I mean, it's not going to be like drastically a huge departure, but I mean, you know, just some heavier stuff because I mean, I think that it's just a side of the band that we could explore a lot more. For sure. Basically.
So the recording lineup that you had on All Guts No Glory, is that the same touring lineup you have now?
Not even close.
Not even
no.
close.
Well, you know,
I know you have Hamilton in the band now.
right.
Drums.
I mean, basically, you know, with the guys that recorded the record, Danny and Leon, from the beginning, I knew that if we were going to start doing a long haul touring, that they wouldn't be around. Simply because Danny is committed to Intronaut, and they're really busy. I mean, they just tour with fucking Tools, so obviously,
that's right, yeah.
you know, he's doing well for himself. It's not like he's out of his mind.
Yeah.
Leon has a really good career. He makes a shitload of money. He's very rooted, and he has his Murder Construct thing with Danny as well.
Yeah.
And then, you know, with Wes had done all the tours up to this last one with Black Dahlia, but you know, it just seemed like he wasn't really enjoying himself on tour, and it was sort of more trouble than it was worth kind of thing. And I knew on this tour it would be a lot harder because of the earlier times and the weather and everything else. You know, he's got certain like health things that make it hard for him to tour. It was making it hard for everybody, so we just had to make the decision to, you know, to let him go, which was a tough call because I mean he wrote a lot of songs on the last record. I thought that the shit he came up with was awesome.
Do you guys do his stuff on the road?
Not on this tour. I mean, it's just one of those things. Our set's so
Well, yeah,
short.
on this one, yeah.
And with Bud coming into the band, he kind of came in at the last possible minute. And not only that, our rehearsal time for this tour was cut because Mike had a death in the family, so we were supposed to be jamming, but of course he was taking care of that, which, you know, I mean, is obviously more important than like making sure we can like learn some random song. But it just we came right down to the wire. We had 2 days to rehearse, and it was like, well, this is what we'll do. And then we have these other old songs because Bud used to play bass for us, you know, from '99 to '04.
For those that don't know, you're referring to Bud Burke.
Yeah.
He's come back now.
Exactly. Yeah, he's our guitar player now.
Okay.
And so he, you know, he was pretty familiar with a lot of the early shit from the first couple of records. So when we do the off-day shows with Goat Horde, and we're playing for 45 minutes, it's mostly old stuff.
So you guys are doing shows on off dates, so you're playing basically every fucking day.
We had 2 days off at the beginning, just as really long drives. But yeah, we played Rochester on the last off day, and then we did Pittsburgh, and then we have Sioux Falls and Boise coming up, like before and after Denver. And then with Rob, our bass player, he and I were playing together in this band called Grave Hill. And you know, a lot of the guys in Grave Hill are they're closer to my age.
Yeah.
Rob's like 27, I think.
Oh, yeah, he's still young.
All those guys are all kind of in their 30s and they have jobs and stuff. And Rob is just like a fucking, you know.
He's hungry.
Yeah, exactly. He's young and hungry, wanted to get on the road, and so. You know, once we heard his low voice, we're like, fuck, this actually sounds really good, like, cool. And, you know, we did the first tour, with Macabre and Cephalic Carnage with him on board, and just worked really well, so, you know, he's been doing awesome. So I'm really happy with the lineup that we have right now. It's like, I think we play better, and I think that we get along really well, and it's cool, good chemistry. I mean, the stage presence has changed a little bit, and it's still growing with Bud back in the band, but I mean, you know, that's baby steps, and we have 2 days of rehearsal, and yada yada yada. The thing with Bud, though, that I was really happy with is not only is he like an amazing guitar player, I mean, he's probably the best guitarist we've had in the band ever.
Oh, no shit.
But he's somebody with a history in the band, and it's incredible. It's not just like, oh, we got this Joe Schmo guy off the street or whatever, you know what I mean?
He's someone who's in the game. And
absolutely, and he understands what we're about. It's not like we have to explain it to him, and I understand what he's about because I've known him for almost 20 years.
Right.
And you know, I knew instantly, I'm like, dude, this guy and Rob are going to be like the fucking terrible twosome. Like, these guys are going to be like the drunk idiots, like, pulling shenanigans, and that's exactly how it's been. So it's cool.
Yeah. Sounds like a lot of fun, man. Well, all right, so now you've been talking about you guys tour quite a bit, and you yourself even at last minute were added to that Death to All tour.
Right.
So you were touring quite often.
Yeah, I was supposed to be writing the new album, but instead I was out playing Chuck songs.
Which I was here for that show, and you were part of the proposal.
Yeah. We're getting people engaged, man. It's good stuff.
That was
That's
good
my
time.
third proposal now.
Really?
It's wild.
You're like a minister to death metal.
Hey, apparently my band's great at getting everyone besides me laid. So.
All right, so let me ask you now, since you go on tour a lot, obviously health becomes an issue every once in a while, but since you're so not home so often, where do you go to find food? Are there places that you've kind of grown used to over the years that you kind of seek out?
You know, it just depends, man. Like, you know, sometimes we play the same club time after time, but I like to try different things all the time. And it's cool playing someplace like Chicago. Like to me, there's 3 cities in America where almost all the restaurants are killing. It's San Francisco, New York, Chicago. Those are my favorite places to go because you're just like, well, let's just try this restaurant.
Yeah.
It's probably fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
And not very many other places can say it. I mean, I have kind of like local things. Like when I'm in Florida, I go on Cubans. Like I love Cubans. It's so fucking good. And I hate pickles, but Cuban in Florida, I'll fucking eat
You'll fucking eat that shit. Huh, no shit.
You know, I mean, and I've always been pretty adventurous, you know, like I like all kinds of food. And the only thing I don't really like is like pickles and milk.
Really?
Everything else I fucking eat.
Goat cheese, dates, all that shit.
I love goat cheese. I love foie gras. Like I love everything from like street tacos from like the dirtiest like alien health inspection like fucking place in LA to like fancy ass like 4-course fucking meals like French restaurant with wine.
Yeah, a buddy of mine took me to a Cuban restaurant near where we work, brand new one. And it's an empanada, it's a little sampler thing. Awesome. And then the next day, yesterday, I happened to be going home and there was a food truck out, like a liquor store, and there's an empanada food truck. So I'm like empanada street right now. And they had like a bacon, dates, goat cheese empanada.
Oh, that sounds so good.
Yeah, it was really good, man.
And you know, a lot of people in California don't know this, but Chicago has like, in my opinion, next to California, the fucking best Mexican food in America. There's like California and Arizona is kind of part of the same thing.
Yeah, it's at near southern. Yeah.
It's like, I was shocked, dude. I was like, well, just, you know, you're from California, you don't think like, oh, where are there a lot of Mexicans? Chicago. Like, you don't think that at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
you think more like Wisconsin has a lot of cheese.
Exactly.
And it's going to bring it down. Yeah. Indiana has.
You think more like Polish food or Russian food.
That's right. Yeah, that's true.
But no, dude, you guys have everything from like the gnarliest Mexican, great Italian. Last time Exhumed played at Reggie's, I went to this badass Italian place down the street.
Oh yeah.
When I can afford it, I try to like eat pretty well.
Fuck yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's a nice seafood place next to the metro around here.
Nice.
Went there with Suffocation. They're all lobster and shit. Like,
well, when we start making the Suffocation money, so, you know. Right. And the only rule I really follow is like, if I go to like a Mexican restaurant and there's no Mexicans there, or like a Chinese place and there's no Asians there, then I don't eat there.
You turn around.
Right, or if I'm in Kansas and it's like a seafood place, I'm like, no, I'm not going to go.
Yeah, right on. All right, so you have this new lineup now. Mike Hamilton's in the band, and he's actually known more for like a blast beat kind of guy from Beat the Flesh.
Right.
Is him and the rest of the guys on this tour going to be the new album recording lineup?
That's correct.
Sick as fuck.
Yeah, Mike. Mike has been just a total godsend. It's kind of a weird fluke. I moved back to California from Hawaii right before we recorded the record. My dad lives on the West Coast, my mom lives in the South, and I was totally broke. So I've been living in Hawaii, like marginally employed for like almost 2 years, just sitting on the beach drinking beer. And so I moved to the town where my dad and my grandparents live, in the area. And that's San Luis Obispo, which is where Deeds is from.
Yes, that's right.
My stepbrothers both went to college there, so one of my stepbrothers is a bartender, and you know, he's like, oh yeah, my brother's in this band, blah blah blah. And Mike, he'd known Mike for years. Mike's like, oh yeah, I know that dude. And so then my stepbrother's like, hey, he's gonna be moving back here. Here's his phone number. Like, call him up.
No shit.
So we just started hanging out, like barbecuing or whatever. And then, you know, I didn't really realize that Deeds hasn't even played a show in 4 years.
Yeah.
So he was kind of, you know, raring to go.
Yes.
And, you know, I'm not sure if Deeds is going to play out again. As far as I know, I doubt it's going to be as extensive. So, you know, I was just so happy to get him in the band. He's an amazing drummer, and even, you know, just as importantly, like, he's just a good dude.
He is a good,
We're both from the Bay Area, so we have the same Exodus violence kind of like background or whatever. And, you know, he's also, you know, just in talking with him, I'm like, dude, are you bored like playing these songs? And he's like, you know, dude, I've already proven that I can tech out and I can do all this different stuff.
That's true.
And he's like, you know, it's just about the fucking power. And he's like, I play this song, and, you know, let's just fucking write good songs and don't worry about it. So
it's badass.
It's perfect, man. I couldn't ask for a better situation.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, although Deeds is, like you said, they're not on the live circuit, they still hold a pretty powerful name.
Absolutely.
So it's like they have danger. And I kind of felt the same way with you guys. We're technically on hold between 05 and 10. But people still talked about you a lot. My
Which
friends
was weird to me, but, you know, it was very gratifying. Like, I didn't think that would happen. So.
Yeah, no, you guys had the same power. So in between that time in 05 and 10, you spent some time in Grave Hill.
Yep.
I believe you were also in Cretan.
I played live with them.
Yeah, I saw you at Maryland Death Fest with that.
Right.
To go into those different bands and things like that, were you ever in the back of your mind holding on to Exhumed stuff and just working on your own, or were you just like not really worried about that?
I was doing a couple thrash bands as well, like me and the original Exhumed drummer Cole. We did a record for Relapse with our band Decapitated.
Yes.
We started that in like '96 or whatever, and then I had another band called Scarecrow that was like more like Metallica, Megadeth, Merciful Fate oriented or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was always writing, you know. Really wasn't until I moved out to Hawaii that it kind of started getting a little bit heavier, a little bit heavier, a little bit heavier, a little bit heavier, and you know, I just kind of like was able to step away from Exhumed and kind of like forget about all the reasons why we stopped playing and just remember like, oh yeah, I get a good perspective. Like, that was actually pretty fun. Like, fuck, you know.
Fresher perspective.
Yeah. So it was really fun coming back to it, you know. But yeah, I mean, I always keep writing songs. And
sure.
I work on shit all the time. Just bits here. I have like 4 or 5 new Decapitator songs just sitting on my computer. I have a project I've been writing for like a year and a half that's more like Sonic Youth, like My Bloody Valentine.
Oh, sure.
So, I mean, like, I'm always doing something, you know, I never really...
For your satisfaction.
Yeah, just because I like writing. Like, I don't really like practicing and playing, I like writing songs. That's what I get excited about.
Yeah, I've heard you guys say in past interviews how in the old days you kind of go into like the practice room and you jam out, and now you guys kind of like work a little bit on your home by yourselves.
Right. And I think, you know, it's going to be kind of half and half going forward. The only thing that's going to keep us from writing more in the jam room is time constraints, because we're supposed to be in the studio for the new record like at the very end of September, recording to the end of October, then we leave for tour. So that's the only thing. And what I've noticed just jamming a little bit, working on new songs, is like when I write by myself, I kind of pack the song more with more and more and more stuff, and then when you write in the jam room and you're playing full volume with the fucking drum kit, you play something really basic and you're like, this sounds...
But you feel it out more.
Right. It sounds... Whereas when you're at home, it sounds all small because you're just playing through your fucking computer or whatever, and then you're like, so you compensate by putting more notes in your riffs or whatever. So I'm gonna... The big thing for me, I think, when we get home is just to go through and make sure that all the songs are as simple as they can be.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, not to like dumb it down, but just to do what's necessary and then use the rest of our energy to make powerful.
Well, especially with some of like the more like tech bands that are out now, tech's such a big thing. Is a lot of people are in that bandwagon, but if you look at the crowd, once those real crazy parts start, everybody kind of stops heaving a little bit and they just stare. And then when it gets to slam up, they're like, oh yeah, right on.
And also, I think a lot of the people that are really into it are musicians. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with people that are musicians, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I've never been into like musician bands. I mean, I don't own a single Yes record. I mean, I got like a few Rush things and, you know, like Monovision Orchestra and stuff. But I mean, like, I'm not... I don't have any Alan Holdsworth records or anything like that. Right. In my collection. I got a lot of like Black Flag and stuff like that.
The real pissed off shit.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just a different taste or whatever. And you know, I don't want to go out there trying to prove what a great guitar player I am. I know like most of these dudes on this tour, like probably all of them. Maybe it's just me and Sammy. So but like. Yeah, you know, they can shred circles around you. Right. It's like, so I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to play my shit the way that I do.
Yeah, you gotta like, especially some of these tours that have such large packages, you gotta have some variety. Every band can't be the same fucking thing.
I mean, that would be the word. The only thing worse, well, that's not true, but I mean, like, no matter, even if I put like 10 of my favorite grind bands on a package, it was like Rotten Sound, Phobia, Us, Ghoul, you know, Magruder Grind, and fucking Kill the Client, like Crippled Bastards, Hemorrhage, like, that would get tiring too. It's like, okay.
It would bring out crowds,
but it would just be, you get saturated really fast, you know?
Yeah, you'd have a lot of people leaving probably halfway through and then coming back around, things like that. I see what you're saying. All right, so it's about August now, and like you said, you guys have some studio time booked in September, October.
September and October.
Okay, so when you guys get done with this tour, what are your immediate plans? Let Exhumed fans know what's the rest of the year for you guys.
Well, we're going to be rehearsing our asses off for about a month, and then going in the studio, and then We're doing the drums. We're gonna do it the same way we did last year. Doing the drums in Southern California, Orange County. Then we're gonna drive out to Phoenix and record everything else with Ryan Butler from my Marathon. In the like 2/3 of the way through the recording, we're going to Japan for 3 days with Cannibal Corpse. We're gonna come back, finish up the last bits of the recording, and then we're driving east to start a tour with Napalm Death Municipal Waste at the end of October.
Can you give any details about that tour with Napalm Death
Municipal Waste? I just can say that it ends in Florida in the beginning of December.
All right, that's good enough.
That, I don't have any details.
All right, yeah, no.
Every once in a while, someone will be like, "Hey, you're playing on such and such day, dude. You got to get me in." It's like, well, you know as much as I do, or more. Cool.
Yeah, probably, yeah, because I heard details here and there, but nothing real, like official. But,
yeah. I mean, it's just.
So we can say definitely that you know that you will be going on this tour with those
I know that. That much I know. I know that there's going to be regional guests. Some of the names I've heard are fucking amazing, but
really?
I don't know how solid they are.
Yeah,
so
you don't want to let the cat out the bag.
Well, the only thing worse than spoiling the surprise would be saying something that doesn't.
You have to go through.
That's fucking embarrassing.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. All right, man. Well, I don't really have too much else to ask you. I think that Exhumed being in this package is obviously a great thing for you guys.
Cool, man.
You got anything you want to say to your fans or anybody else? Go ahead and promote it.
I mean, the main thing I would just say is, like, when we stopped doing the band in 2005, I didn't really have any intention of doing it again. And the fact that 5 years later people still remember that we were a band was really flattering and, like, really humbling. And I would just say thanks for not forgetting about us and want to hear a new record and allowing us to be on our 6th North American tour right now. So it's fucking amazing, man. We're stoked, so thanks.
Fuck yeah, man. Cheers.